Ademola Olorunfemi, FNSE. We also want to recognize all members of the National ESCO of NSE present here. We also recognize chairmen of our sister branches. I've seen Engineer Theo Bosun Odulami of NSE London branch. He's here with us. We also have Engineer Ade Diran of NSE Glasgow branch, the chair of NSE Glasgow branch. We also have our executives present here, led by Engineer Dr. Obuks Ejokumo. We have the Vice Chair, Engineer Professor Adebisi Bamidele, and our General Secretary, Engineer Dr. Irene Okade. We also recognize every other executives of NSE Manchester branch. We also recognize members of our branch, members of NSE Manchester branch, and our guests. You are all welcome. I will now give the floor to the to NSE Manchester Chair, Engineer Dr. Books, for the chairman's opening speech. Dr. Books, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Engineer Patrick Obidoyin. A very good evening to one and all. It gives me great pleasure to welcome everyone here present today, particularly our special guest speaker today. By way of opening remarks, I will just touch on 4 items, and they all will come under the broad theme membership. Okay, a branch is defined by its members, and I think membership is something that drives Manchester as well. I thought I would just quickly report. As of today, we have 72 members in NSE Manchester branch. Out of that 72, 77% of them are financially up to date, which is not a bad score. I can say that boldly in the presence of my past president here. Somebody who scores 77% should be, I think that is an A. So we're not doing badly, but we can also do more, which takes me to the next comment I have by way of opening remark. The July diet is now on. I think it's an opportunity for members who have not fully registered to take advantage of that of this opportunity. Our membership secretary, Camille, and his assistant, Engineer Delaye, have been very proactive in communicating the process by which we can support and facilitate membership. So I will draw everybody's attention to that. Also, very importantly, if you are on the national database, you must have received an invitation to participate in the ongoing infrastructure scorecard survey. Please, this is a gentle reminder that it's very, very important. Your comments are very, very invaluable to the process. I will encourage everyone to please take some time and complete the survey. For those who have completed it, I just a matter of saying thank you very much for doing us that honor. Please continue to complete that survey for us. I think it's also good for me to also mention that the current assembly is fast approaching. We've all been receiving updates. I think it's also a reminder that we should please watch that space. I'm not too sure if there is a virtual option, but I think it's going to happen in August, 9th to 11th of August in the International Conference Center in Abuja. So please, those of us who have travel certificates, now you have to be, your vaccine certificate is your ticket to travel. So for those of us who have the vaccines already, should be able to join our colleagues in Abuja. And very lastly, I want to say that next technical session, we have our award ceremony where we will be recognizing some members of our community who have done so fabulously well in this past year. We'll be recognizing them, and we'll please encourage one and all to please join us during that ceremony, please. We'll communicate through our flyer the exact time and theme of our next technical session. That brings me to the end of my opening remark, and I would like to quickly invite Engineer Dr. Akilu Yanusa Katongo to read the citation of our special guest speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman. So, good evening, all. I have the honor to read the citation of our speaker today, Engineer Mrs. Margaret Aino Oguntala, FNSE, FNSCHE. Margaret Aina Oguntala, popularly known as Erelu, obtained a BEng from the University of Benin in 1986. A certified environmental consultant, she has kept herself abreast of her career by attending various local and international certificate courses, workshops, seminars, and conferences. Margaret started her career as chemical sales executive with a Lebanese-owned company, Afro International Enterprises Limited, Matori, Lagos, in 1988, and rose to the position of marketing manager before leaving to start her own business in 1992. In her 36 years of postgraduate life, she has garnered experience in various fields of chemical engineering and management. Today, she's the MD/CEO of BAMSAT Nigeria Limited, as well as managing partner of BAMSAT Engineering Services Limited. Both companies are involved in environmental consultancy, fire and safety, as well as civil/mechanical engineering services, respectively. Presently, Margaret is representative of Southwest Geopolitical Zone on Council for Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, COREN, Member Governing Council, Lagos State Polytechnic, Member College, Industrial Board, Covenant University, OTA, a 3-term Vice President of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Margaret has served the Nigerian Society of Engineers in various capacities in her 25 years of membership. She rose through the ranks to become the 9th chairman of NSE Ikeja branch in 2009 and 2010, before moving to the headquarters. At the national level of the Association of Professional Women Engineers in Nigeria, APWEN, Engineer Oguntala served as General Secretary, Publicity Secretary, and Technical Secretary at various times between 1996 and 2004. She has also remained active in the Nigerian Society of Chemical Engineers since she joined in 1993. A distinguished woman of substantial substance, Engineer Margaret Oguntala has over 50 awards and accolades to her name. She's happily married with children and grandchildren. You're welcome to the stage, madam, and thank you very much for honoring our call. The floor is yours.
Thank you.
Madam, sorry, please, before you speak, I just saw that our president is in the call. I think we should recognize the president, Engineer Babagana Mohammed, please. President, sir.
Wow. Wow.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, sir.
My president, sir. That's a great honor. The president, Nigerian Society of Engineers, Engineer Babagana Mohammed, fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers, fellow Nigerian Institution of Mechanical Engineers. I'm very honored to have you in this meeting, on this call. I said earlier that it's not a special event, so president is not likely to come, but it's a great honor for me that you chose to attend this particular meeting with me as guest speaker. I do not take it for granted, Mr. President. I do appreciate. Permit me to recognize our past president, Engineer Ademola Isaac Olorunfemi, fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers, the grand patron of Nigerian Society of Engineers, Manchester branch, the chairman, Engineer Books Ejowomu. I see the one of the vice presidents here already, Engineer Goodluck Owodo, and all distinguished guests, fellows of the society, distinguished corporate members, student members, graduate members, every member of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, and guests. Well, I've said earlier that it's a great honor for me to be here today, and to be the guest speaker at this August occasion. So I'll start sharing my screen. Okay. Can you see my screen, please?
Yes, we can, ma'am.
Okay, so the intro has been done, so I'll skip that. Yeah. One moment, please. Yes. Okay. So I've done my protocols, so I think I'm also good with that. And then I go straight to the outline. So today, the topic of the lecture, as said earlier, is achieving competitive edge through innovative professional development. And in the outline, as you can see here, I have the introduction, which is talking about competitive edge, sources of competitive edge, why it is important to achieve a competitive edge, importance of competitive edge to professionals, case study, and I chose Kano Nigeria Limited because I'm an executive director of the company. And then that's home, so it's the best that I can use. So then I will be talking about how to achieve competitive edge. Then I will also be talking about professional development as a viable tool to achieving a competitive edge, and innovative professional development, getting it right, recommendations, and then of course the conclusion. Now, what is competitive edge? Competitive edge consists of a unique set of values or qualities that an individual or organization possesses, which helps to set it apart from similar professionals or businesses within the same industry. So it's that thing that sets you apart. And if you look at the picture, the pictorial on your right, you will see that there are 4 men going there. And there's a particular one that has the competitive edge, and it's right ahead of all of them. And examples of competitive edge are, for a company, it could be the highest quality product, it could be lowest price. For an individual, it could be higher qualifications, which gives you that competitive edge, or it could be better soft skills. You could have better soft skills than your colleagues, and that will give you the competitive edge. And according to RM Grant in year 2000, he said, when 2 or more firms compete within the same market, one firm possesses a competitive advantage over its rivals when it earns a persistently higher rate of profit or has a potential to earn a persistently higher rate of profit. So that is how you know a company or individual who has the competitive edge. Now, there are 5 factors that could lead to having a competitive edge. The factors are marketing. You have the marketing factors. You could develop a better strategic marketing values, or rather, you could develop strategic marketing values, which will give you an edge. You could have factors that are related to your production. That's as an organization. You could have, of course, you could be very interested and develop in the area of research and development and engineering. Your personnel and expertise factor is a factor too that could lead to you having a competitive edge. And then, of course, corporate resources and finance factors. And sorry, if you look at this, you see the pull. You know, everybody is pulling at the rope to go to the top, and then that man at the top is the person who now takes the shine after having achieved the 4 or the 5 factors. So that is the company at the top there. Sources of competitive edge. Now look at this triangle. We have on top, we have the superior position, which is the position of the person or organization with the competitive edge. And then on both sides, you have the superior resources and you have superior skills. So what it means is that you need a combination of superior resources and superior skills to be in a superior position, which is just your competitive edge. And for each one, I have also enumerated subsets and values. For instance, for superior resources, you see coverage, economies of scale, financial structures, shared experiences, global or international outlook. And then you have cost differentiation, protected niche, and so on. Why is it important to achieve a competitive edge? In today's marketplace, there are thousands of products and services available to fulfill the needs of individuals, groups, and government enterprises. And your ability to identify and exploit how your products and services can be better than that of your competitors gives you a competitive edge, which may reflect in the following ways. When you have competitive edge, then there are ways of identifying you or your company. You have increase as an organization, you have increase in sales and market share. You have improved profit margin, as has been said by Grant. You have survival, you can survive. So you have the ability to survive in an extremely competitive market. And then, of course, you must also have unique business templates. You also have that as a result of achieving a competitive edge. So now I've talked about, so the 5 factors as affect the organization. So now I'm talking about the importance of competitive edge to professionals as individuals now. So if you have the competitive edge, you will have improved marketability. So it's important that you have competitive edge so you can have improved marketability. You can have higher employer rating. Of course, improved marketability means you can, it's easier for you to get better jobs. So you are more marketable than your colleagues. And you have higher employer rating because you have that competitive edge. Of course, then that gives you more confidence, more self-confidence. And lastly, you also have a higher mobility. When you have the competitive edge, it's easier for you to move from one job to a more challenging one because you are not stuck in one spot because you have developed yourself and you are confident that you have that competitive edge. Now I want to talk about this case study. Yes, I said earlier that I'm going to use Kenol as a case study. Okay, so Kenol Nigeria Limited is a Nigerian turned international world-class electrical / mechanical engineering services company. And it's a company that has diversified into renewable energy, such as solar energy installation and sales. The company, in collaboration with Metsan Transformer Turkey, has also begun the process of transformer manufacturing in Alaros City in the Lekki Free Trade Zone. Now, I want to relate this to competitive edge. Kenol started as a small company in Surulere, and then it employed, the factors and all the other, every factor and every means of developing itself. Developing the staff, professional development of the staff, which translates into the development of the company. And then now the company, which started as a small company with a few staff in 1988, has grown with over 400 staff of diverse expertise and duly licensed professionals. So how were they able to do this? They recognized the fact that if you must move up, if you must take a larger share of the market, then you must have that competitive edge. And the company introduced very innovative ways of doing this. First, the company takes in engineering graduates every year and trains them, gets them certified, registered with the Nigerian Society of Engineers, registered with Koren. And so you have in the pool of the company, there are registered engineers. And then the other professionals also are treated the same way. Even the lower staff is allowed to develop himself. So that way, the development of the staff has translated into the development of the company. And apart from that, the company offers a lot of values. I mean, value engineering is one key thing that is very, that's very synonymous with Kenol. And that is why Kenol has been able to take its place in the committee of service companies in Nigeria. For instance, the company has, you can see the photograph here, that is the planning office. The company has a planning office of well over 14 registered engineers and other professionals. We have the keywords there, we have everybody. And then when we get jobs, we go back to our office, we do the workshop drawing, you know, for the client, and do a lot of value engineering, which gives the client a lot of confidence. That is value added, and that is a competitive edge. The staff are trained regularly, and then the company also recognizes opportunities to develop. A few years ago, some years ago, the group president traveled to China, and then he saved some money on his hotel and feeding, and bought some solar lights. But when he got here, what he did was he quickly arranged for some of the staff to go for training. And professional development is the only thing that you can use to keep your staff abreast of the development of technologies and stuff. And so the company has been able to do all of that. And you can see here, I have a list of company projects that the company has executed. The very first one was Temple and Golders Complex in Victoria Island, a block of 14 apartments. But now, Kenol has in its kitty World Trade Center Abuja, a 2-number 30-story building. So it's the company has developed in leaps and bounds. And I've said earlier, what are the values that Kenol has that has given it that competitive edge? Kenol delivers quality service. There is innovation. The staff are always on their feet and always on their toes, looking for new technologies. As a matter of fact, the company recently purchased a vehicle for which is a one-stop maintenance, transformer maintenance vehicle. You know, but I'll talk more about that later. So there's value engineering, like I said, there's assured performance. When you perform well, then of course you have an edge over your competitors. We have skilled and registered workforce, which is very important. That means professional development, personal development of the staff is taken very seriously. There's understanding of the environment, because it's also very important. It's part of development. We have technical capabilities, and then continuous professional development of staff and management. So all these have resulted in Kenol having a competitive edge well above its competitors, and that's why it's doing very well. Now, how to achieve a competitive edge? Market positioning. You position yourself well, and this is concerning professionals and individuals. You must position yourself for the market, and you must brand yourself. There's branding. I was telling a friend of mine that branding is very important, and if you brand yourself, if people know you, they know your capabilities, they know what you can do, then that is branding. I went to one of the events of FNSCHE recently, and I did not tie my daily, the way I normally do. And somebody said, what happened now? I didn't know it was you. We know your brand. That's, you know. So from that day on, I made up my mind. I said, okay, anytime I'm going, I'll make sure, or any event at that, I will make sure that I appear like that. So that's my brand. Identification of opportunities. It's the same as it applies to organizations. It's even more important for individuals. You must identify opportunities. You must be able to evaluate opportunities, and you harness your resources. Then you must also, of course, maintain a very good work-life balance. Now, without a good work-life balance, in fact, you cannot concentrate on your job enough to develop further. How to achieve competitive edge. So this is also about talking about organizations achieving competitive edge. You must, as an organization, you must understand the DNA of your ideal customer. Once you understand the DNA of your ideal customer, you know the characteristics of that customer, you know the needs of the customer, and you are able to meet the needs. You must be able to, you must clarify your strengths, you know, process your strengths, your technology knowledge, your expertise, your capabilities, and consider how you can use them to leverage your competitive edge. You must establish unique value proposition. It's very, very important. And you must reward behavior that supports corporate mission and values. You must also, as an employer or as the head of an organization, create a corporate culture that attracts best talents. This includes professional development culture and reward for staff. If you don't have a good professional development culture, then you cannot achieve that competitive edge. Now, I want to talk a bit about professional development. And this is one of the easiest or simplest definitions of professional development. And it says, professional development is continuing training and education of an individual with regards to his or her career. The goal of professional development is to keep you up to date on current trends, as well as developing new skills for the purpose of advancing in your chosen field or career. That's very simple. It's one of the simplest ways of defining professional development. And here I have, before you even develop yourself professionally, you must have a goal. So the goal is in the middle there. That's the professional development goals. And around it, you have what you need to do to get to your goals or to achieve your goals. You develop new skills. You get professional license or certification. It's not enough for you to be in a profession. I mean, like for instance, it's an environmental consultant. If I didn't have certification, then I haven't even started and I will not be able to get my goal. Then you increase your competency, which is very simple, and then you must be up to date. Once you have all of that, you'll be able to reach your professional development goals. And on my right here, I have a cycle, and it's at the top there, you have continuing education. And these are the things that lead to continuing education. Participation in professional organizations is one of them. And that is what we are doing right now. Research is very, very important. You must be willing to research. You must be willing to learn new things. And then improved job performance. Once you are able to do these two, you'll be able to, you improve your job performance, and then you do, or you undertake skills-based training, not just any kind of training, but skills-based training to improve your skills. And then you take up increased duties and responsibilities that will challenge you further and make you, because as engineers, for instance, we are supposed to be problem solvers. If you're a problem solver, like somebody said, I think in one of the technical sessions that I attended earlier, as a problem solver, you must be able to actually create problems and solve them. So if you are, with all of this, you achieve or you participate and you do all of this and you have a continuing education, and you'll be said to have continuing education. Professional development as a viable tool to achieving a competitive edge. Now, I've spoken about professional development. How do you use it? How does it become a viable tool to achieving a competitive edge? And I say here that one of the paradoxes of life is that the things that initially make you successful are not the things that keep you successful. That was said by John Maxwell. So the things that make you successful, for instance, could be your education and, sorry, my husband just walked in. So the things that make you successful are not the things that will keep you successful. You have to do other things. You have to get trained, for instance. You have to get exposed to other things. You have to know how to innovate and stuff before you will be termed successful. Many companies underperform or fail because their owners, who are talented, did not see the reason to learn more. They are satisfied with what they know. They do not seek knowledge. They do not innovate and adopt competitive strategies which can keep their companies going. So many companies die prematurely because of these reasons. And you can see the growth. You know, you move from one step to the other as you train yourself, as you develop yourself, as you innovate, you become, you become more trained, or let me just put it that simply, and you become an expert, and then you're up there with or having a competitive edge. Innovation as a competitive requirement. Well, this is the definition that I have of innovation. Cambridge Dictionary defines innovation as the use of new idea or method, while Oxford Dictionary says to innovate is to make change. It's nothing new. We are making a change in something established, especially by introducing new method, ideas, or products. So in your professional development, what new thing can you add? For instance, I'll use this lecture that we're having today, for instance. The traditional way of developing yourself was going to school or going out there to attend conferences and stuff. But now there is this innovation of the Zoom. So you can develop yourself via Zoom by joining this kind of call. You can also, there is a lot that you can also learn on the web. You can do that. You can, when you hear about anything new or anything, any technology, you go and learn more about it. And you make yourself, you keep yourself aware with better awareness indeed. And then you get new knowledge and your expertise and capabilities improve. And when you add some innovation to all of that, then you have a competitive edge. Well, why are Nigerian engineering firms not competitive at all? That's not, I just put that because I wanted us to think about it, but I really don't believe that we are not competitive at home. But this is a question that somebody asked me a few days ago. And I told the person, I said, no, we are competitive. We have these problems that I've listed under here, but we are indeed competitive. And I've used Kenol as an example. The challenges that we have here in Nigeria, and I call them challenges, but I decided to put it as a question which somebody asked me recently. We have issues with our the political environment is not right for business. And the policy, and there is policy somersault. There's a policy today, tomorrow it changes. And we don't have control over policies and implementation of policies. There is the illusion of thinking foreign is always better. And then there's mass migration of our professionals abroad and the motivation of the professionals at home. So there's lack of profitable engagement of Nigerian engineers. A lot of Nigerian engineers don't have jobs. So how, if you don't even have a job and you're not engaged, how do you develop yourself? How do you now get that competitive edge? There is depth of strong machine and fabrication industry in the country. A lot of our industries, fabrication industries, are moribund or in fact non-existent. These are young graduates of engineering. They are still very excited coming out, but then there are these challenges that they are going to have to face. And okay, Michael Porter says here, competitive strategy must grow out of a sophisticated understanding of the rules of competition that determine an industry's attractiveness. The ultimate aim of competitive strategy is to cope with and ideally change rules in the firm's favor. So once you are able to, that is the aim of competitive strategy. You want to be able to cope with and change those rules, all the rules that you have. So those rules that we have, all these rules, for instance, we must find a way of changing them. And this next slide talks about steps to creating innovative professional development to achieve competitive edge. As an organization, you must assess your employees' capabilities and competencies and equate all of these to requirements in the market or the strength of your competitor. So once you're able to do that, then you know how to move up, go above your competitors. You know what to add, you know what value to add to give you that competitive edge. Develop your objectives and end targets. Then develop relevant contents and activities needed to achieve the objectives. Implement action. There are lots of organizations or even individuals. You have a lot of content, you have objectives, you have targets, but you don't implement action. So on January 1 of every year, you wake up and you say, okay, this year I'm going to get certified in environment, I'm going to get certified in project management and all of that, and you don't take action, you don't implement, then by the end of the year, you are still where you were. So you seek feedback and follow up. Very, very important. Then observe results. Once you seek feedback and you follow up, then you observe the results of that and repeat the cycle. So the efforts of Current and FNSCHE, I just want to talk briefly about that, towards innovative professional development. For Current Koren is making moves to join the Washington Accord in accordance with the Engineering Alliance, International Engineers Alliance. And once that is done, the Nigerian engineer will be more mobile. He will be able to just pick his certificate, go out of the country and practice anywhere where in any country that is also a member of the Washington Accord. That will encourage the Nigerian engineer to develop himself. If you want to go and compete with your counterparts and all over the world, then you know that you have to develop yourself. So measures are being put in place to ensure that engineers develop themselves to meet the standard, the global standard, and be able to compete favorably. Then there is this Made in Nigeria campaign that Koren is doing and that has been doing and is always doing. Then there's a campaign for the engagement of Nigerian engineers by government at all levels. The president of Koren, Engineer Ali Arabiu, recently at an interview actually said this to the hearing of everybody in Nigeria, that the government at all levels must engage Nigerian engineers so that we can develop capacity, because unless you are engaged, you cannot develop capacity. And then Koren is also has started the work towards the implementation of outcome-based education. And this will ensure that there is more emphasis on skill-based education, engineering education than theory. So the engineering graduates will be as vast in technical matters and skills as he is in theory. And that's a departure from what we have now. So the syllabus, we'll be looking at the syllabus to ensure that the syllabus meets the needs of the industry. And then the efforts of NSE here. NSE has programs and technical sessions, for professional development. That's always been there, and a lot more is being done. And that's one of the reasons we are here today, to develop. Who is on this call is going to go back home with something that he has learned that will make him better and move him further towards having the competitive edge. There are conferences and seminars, there are workshops, and then of course there's the Executive Order 5, which the Nigerian Society of Engineers actually monitored from beginning to gazetting. And then there are network opportunities, of course, at NSE events to help you develop yourself. Innovative professional development. How do you get it right? So we have said earlier, I've said earlier that innovative professional development you can achieve competitive edge through innovative professional development. So how do you get that right? And I say here that innovative professional development is, if you want to get it right, then you must build a regular in-house program as an organization that encourages knowledge sharing between senior and younger professionals. Knowledge sharing, resource sharing, you cannot but do all of that. And then you invite external people wherever necessary, external trainers, staff, and you can also bring staff from other companies to do what we call peer review with your own staff. And all staff must get involved, and each one should be allowed to research their own topic. It's not enough for you to organize these meetings or trainings, and you also have to allow your staff get personally involved. And then you encourage research and forage into new and emerging technologies and techniques. When Kenol started by importing solar light poles, but now Kenol has trained staff in that. We have staff who are very vast in solar energy, and we deployed them to places in Niger State a few years ago. An 8-kilometer road was lighted. Let me put it that way, with solar lights by Kenol, and it's still there standing. Encourage open ideas. So this is a continuation. Encourage open ideas and join discourse with your team, whether they are worth the efforts or not. Be open to new and more efficient ways of doing things, always. Encourage all cadres to engage in MCPD, mandatory continuing professional development, and reward excellence. That is motivation. So you must motivate your staff, and make all relevant tools available, including registered and authorized software. Invest in up-to-date professional journals and library, and encourage staff to read. encourage feedback and new ideas, be open to new business models and products that can earn competitive advantage. So when you do all of this, encouraging your staff to engage in MCPD and encouraging them to read, then you are developing them. You are encouraging them to develop themselves with innovation. And then, of course, the sky is the beginning. Having said all of that, with the challenges that I mentioned earlier, these are my recommendations. Well, the bane of our country right now is the power sector. And unless we improve, there's an improvement in the services, then we'll continue to have problems. How do you develop yourself when there are no companies? Because without the power sector being very, very effective and functional, the companies where we could train engineers will not be able to survive. The overhead alone in my company is so huge, and you need to do so much to be able to break even on very small projects. Then favorable policies should be put in place. For instance, tax holiday is an example. If you're starting a new company, you should have a tax holiday. And there are countries where they do that. In China, for instance, I know that they have a bank of industry where you can take a loan, at very minimal interest, with very minimal interest, or no interest, and then you can develop yourself, develop your company, and so on. Incentives to innovators. When there are innovators, you must give them incentives. You must motivate them. Enforce local content law and replicate in all sectors of the economy. The government needs to do that. The local content law in the oil and gas is fine, but it must be replicated in all other sectors of the economy. And then state governments should localize Executive Order 5. There are more investments on technical education. Right now, the technical arm of the engineering family is it's almost dead. Let me just put it that way, because the number of technical schools that we have most of them are not even doing well at all. I know that when I was chairman of Ikeja branch, we adopted the technical college, government technical college in Ogba, and we found out that most of the machines, most of the equipment were moribund. But what we did at that time was to partner with Mikano, which is very close to that college. We partnered with Mikano and we got them to replace some of those machines, and those that were not redeemable were replaced outright, and those that could be refurbished were refurbished. We also got Mikano to take them for internship and stuff. But government needs to do something urgently about technical education. Then, of course, we must also invest in R&D. I mean, there's no doubt that it's only with research and development that you can develop innovatively. Then develop and strengthen indigenous capabilities. I said that earlier, unless we develop indigenous capabilities, we'll continue to have foreigners come to take our jobs. And then we'll continue to have our own engineers move away from Nigeria instead of remaining here to develop the country. In conclusion, I have this to say, be it an individual or organization, training and retraining, otherwise known as professional development, is imperative. And every professional must continually seek ways of improving its marketability, its mobility, and competitiveness. This paper has dwelt on factors leading to those three. However, while a competitive edge can be achieved through professional development, its sustainability depends on innovative ideas. It's okay, you can develop, you can have a competitive edge, but it can only be sustainable when you have innovative ideas. And in other words, innovative professional development is the key to sustainable competitive edge. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Engineer Mrs. Margaret Oguntala, FNSE, for that fantastic talk.
Thank you, sir.
But before I can say anything, I must acknowledge that this is a real major milestone for NSE Manchester branch, because we have on this call the current president of NSE, Engineer Babagana Mohammed. We also have on this call the president of Koren, Engineer Alimasuya Rabiu, FNSE. We also have our past president here, Engineer Ademola Isaac Olorefemi. So I think I'm afraid to even speak, other than to say, please, I need to open the floor in that order for us to get comments before our presidents, before I can take the questions. So Engineer Babagana, please, the floor is yours, sir. I can see the president is still on the call, but maybe I will move on to the president of Koren, Engineer Rabiu, sir.
Hello, thank you very much. My chairman, first let me appreciate everybody for coming for this meeting, and also appreciate Engineer Mrs. Margaret, I know Oguntala FNS, for this wonderful presentation. Yes, it was actually rich, very educative, and we appreciate you, madam. So please go ahead and continue the meeting. We'll be waiting and be ready to take our silly questions. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you, my president.
Thank you, my president.
Can I please invite our current president, sir?
Let me call him.
Can I invite our past president, Engineer Isaac Olorefemi, to please make a comment while we are waiting for the current president to join us? Engineer Olorefemi, please. Apologies, but I think the current president just.
Can you hear me, Mr. Chairman?
I can hear you now.
Can hear you now, sir.
Hello, Mr. Chairman.
I can hear you, past president, sir. Please go on, sir.
Thank you very much. I'd like to defer to Mr. President, President Margaret Mohammed. Want to be the current president. I guess it's about him now. I want to congratulate the chairman of Manchester branch and all the members. Great job. I am privileged to be associated with you. It's a great honor. I'd like to thank our guest speaker, who is practically becoming a professor in delivery of very fantastic motivating lectures. Thank you. I've enjoyed myself. I like to observe that at some point, we had 96 participants on a Friday evening for a branch seminar. That's commendable. Motivator branch, keep it up. Our guest speaker, Engineer Mrs. Margaret Oguntala, great job. Well done. Once again, Motivator branch, congratulations. I'm through.
Thank you very much.
Chairman.
Thank you, sir. My current president, sir.
I saw that he joined. Okay,
hello. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can, sir.
Okay. Okay. My president, the president of FNSCHE, chairman FNSCHE Manchester branch, my past presidents who are here, the professor of presentation, Engineer Margaret Oguntala, other participants. Let me congratulate first the presenter for a job well done. Like the past president said, Margaret Oguntala is fast becoming or turning into a professor in presentations. Over the last few weeks, she has made so many presentations, and in coming weeks, I think she still has more to do. The topic of the presentation is very, very important to engineers because it's talking about building competitive edge through innovative development. And every engineer would want to improve in his profession. And you can only do that if you continue to attend continuing professional development programs. Let me congratulate the Manchester branch also for organizing this webinar. It is a way of building the competencies and the professional proficiency of not only your members, but of some of us who are joining or who have joined this particular webinar. I'd like to congratulate the NSC president also for his continued encouragement of all the branches to participate in professional development activities. Let me use this opportunity to inform the participants that with effect from January 2022, Korean would no longer accept its registrants, especially engineers, to renew their licenses without showing evidence of professional development programs attended in the previous year. So webinars like this will count. By the time we have finally worked out what the CPD points will look like, I believe that webinars like this will count, in improving your CPD points. I'm glad that I was part of this presentation, and I believe that all the participants have one or two things to take away. Thank you very much. God bless everyone.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can I please invite the national chairman for NIEE, Engineer Olaleko Ajani? Sir, I saw your hands up, Engineer Ajani, sir. While we're waiting to hear from Engineer Ajani, there's a question, Engineer Oguntala. The question was that Kano, which is the case study you presented, seemed to have a lot of involvement in different engineering branch divisions, like mechanical activities, in the civil engineering activities. And the question was around how are they able to coordinate all of these branches within one organization? That do they have to sublet their contracts, or do they have all of these expertise in the house?
Thank you, sir. The answer to that is this. Kano has all the expertise in-house, and that accounts for the over 400 staff that Kano has. For every job, we have gangs, as you will know. So for instance, there's a project right now going on. It's in Badagry. It's a 5-star hotel owned by Lagos State. Going on in Badagry. So we have dedicated staff and professionals for that job. And that's the way it is for every job that we have. There's a centenary city in Abuja, which is also an ongoing project. There is the centenary, Anglican centenary here in Lagos, which is also ongoing. So if you have to, if you sublet, then you cannot develop the expertise of your own staff. When you sublet, then you allow other people to learn with your own jobs. But we don't do that in Kano. We allow the engineers to learn on the job. And because they are also trained and retrained, it's easy for them to get on with the job. And then coordination is not difficult because we also have heads of units who coordinate every job. We have project manager for every location. And incidentally, the group president has a magnetic brain. He can tell you off by heart that he will say, okay, 4 point by Sheraton. This is the situation of the job. This is how far we have gone. This is the level of execution. And he does that for almost every project. So I think we are also blessed with a very brilliant group president who, alongside other management staff, key senior engineers are able to coordinate. For instance, the planning department, which I mentioned earlier, is headed by a very seasoned electrical engineer, and he coordinates the place very well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma. I've got Sonny Ejeje. Sonny Ejeje, your hand is up.
My chairman.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Greetings to every one of us. Congrats to Manchester branch. This is my first time of hooking to your branch, and I think it's a very nice one. But first, let me just acknowledge my president, Engineer Babagana Mohammed, FNSE, and also our current president, Engineer Ali Rabiu, FNSE, and the guest speaker, the Relu herself. I didn't expect less. And also, our past president, Engineer Olorunfemi, welcome to, sir. I just want to say big thank you to everybody. Thank you to everybody. And I really enjoyed it. I listened from the beginning to the end, even if I have a tight schedule. I'm in Nigeria, I'm even in Kaduna, so I'm talking now for a project in Kaduna. And I took 1 or 2 things there because it has to be like we're refreshing our memories all over again. And it's a good one, which I've always been joining other branches and divisions webinars as well. And it's good. Thank God the current president even said from next year, webinars like this will be used as a yardstick or whatever, as part of the yardstick to review our current practicing licenses. It's a good, it's a welcome address, and I think it should be made known to all engineers all over the world too. I mean, Nigerian engineers too, as per current registration. It's good. Congratulations to everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Can I invite Engineer Taiwo Biwaji?
Thank you very much, Manchester. Congratulations to Erelu for the delivery of this lecture. And I'd like to greet my past president, current president. My question to Erelu is, what is the role of influence in understanding your environment for competitive advantage? Congratulations to Manchester.
Sorry, I didn't. That's I enter to back.
I hope you heard my question. Hello.
Engineer Mr. Oguntala, did you get the question, ma?
It's in the chat. It's also in the chat box. It's also in the chat box. You can read it out, Chairman, or she can look it up.
I hope she's still on the call because
I think she's still on the line. Let's check.
Looks like she's dropped off.
It's like she's no longer online.
Probably a technical challenge.
Okay, I think she's dropped off.
She'll come back online.
Okay,
Okay, she's back.
Oh yeah, she's back now.
Can I repeat the question?
let's confirm that she's, yes. Go ahead, and I hope she will hear you because she's back.
Well, Erelu, congratulations once again. My question is, what is the role of influence in understanding your environment for competitive advantage? Thank you.
So we're not too sure whether your question has disabled her network.
Beg your pardon.
Jesus Christ of Nazareth. This is an interesting one. Every power is organizing a network. Yes, sir.
The only woman that speaks the
I
truth.
out every power is organizing this. They will not succeed in Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
She's back. She's back.
Amen.
She's back.
Jesus has had our prayers. Amen.
Exactly.
So did I miss anything? Or I would really like to take all the questions together to be easier for me to
Erelu,
coordinate.
did you hear my question?
Yes, you asked what.
Did you hear my question?
Your question was this: what is the role of influence in understanding the environment for competitive edge? Was that your question?
Correct, yes. Okay, we just take engineer Adioye, engineer Aki Adioye, and engineer Yakubu Usman. Those two more questions so we can wrap up. Time is not on our side, please. So engineer Aki Adioye followed by engineer Yakubu Usman.
Yeah, thank you, my chairman. I hope you can hear me.
Very well, sir.
Yes, and I want to greet our president, Engineer Baba Ghana, FNSE, and the current president, our past president, Engineer Isaac Olorunfemi, and Manchester specifically for a great job. I'm not surprised on the presentation from our very dear Erelu. I wish you greater success as you climb higher. I'm sure the message is clear. The point I want to make is on the competitiveness of Nigerian engineers. You put double question, and I just laughed because we are actually handicapped. The business operating environment in the country is terrible, very, very horrible. And even from the World Bank, we've been trying to see what can be done to improve it. And since Nigerian engineers are even in that platform, we are really handicapped. But despite the handicap, I believe Nigerian engineers are getting very innovative and they are trying to cut corners. But I still think a lot needs to be done to improve the operating environment. Most of our industries are relocating to other places as a result of the poor environment. That's the point I want to make in addition to that. Manchester branch, congratulations. I think it's a great event today.
Thank you, sir. Usman, please, Engineer Usman.
Thank you very much. Good evening, my leaders in the House, and congratulations to Manchester and our presenter, Engineer Margaret Oguntala. So the lecture was so interesting. And my question goes, looking at the training difficulties most of our young engineers go through in the university, particularly in Nigeria, the poor infrastructure that we have in the universities, particularly when it comes to the labs, equipment. We found out that most of our engineers after graduation find it very difficult to compete favorably in the industry with our counterparts from the other parts of the country, of the world. Please now, as an elder in the society and a leader, thank God that my two presidents are available, the president of FNSCHE and the president of Korean are here. What are our leaders doing to provide a qualitative mentorship to our young engineers coming so that they will be able to meet up with the challenges in the industry? Because if we look at it quite well, we find out that the difference between what we learn in the class and the physical application industry are vast. So what mentorship capabilities can the forum provide for these young engineers to be able to compete favorably? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Just one last one. Oguntala Fakayinde, Engineer Oguntala Fakayinde, sir.
Thank you very much, my chairman. All protocols observed. I like the way the presenter answered the question about either subletting contracts out. And he said you don't sublet. My question is, why does Nigeria sublet their contract to foreigners? I believe if we have so many engineers, so many Nigerian engineers at home and abroad who can take contracts, who can take jobs and execute them in Nigeria. I believe we should emphasize on the fact that any job that is being done by either federal government or any government should be handled by Nigerians, competent Nigerians, in-house and outside, who can employ foreigners if need be. Not foreigners coming in and employing Nigerians and not even training them. There's part of the contract agreement is maybe to train Nigerians, but they don't. So why don't we do it in the reverse? Employ, make contracts available to Nigerians. We have so many Nigerians all over the world who are competent to handle any project in Nigeria. Why not use them and then they now bring in foreigners if they need to do? You know, that's my question.
Thank you very much, sir. Madam, please, over to you, ma'am. Do we need to invite our prayer warrior again?
Hello?
Aha.
Sorry. Okay. So I said the engineer Fakayinde also, sorry, I missed the name. He asked why Nigerian companies sublet the contracts. And I said, well, I actually wouldn't know because we don't sublet our contracts. We do our contracts in-house. And there's no reason why Nigerian firms or companies should sublet their contracts. We don't even have enough jobs to engage our own engineers. So why would we be doing that? And like you rightly said, this is the time, and the Nigerian engineer has matured to the point of being able to employ foreigners. We have that capability, we have the capacity. We just need to hone on our capacity. We need to keep developing ourselves, and we'll keep being up to date, and then we'll be able to compete and also be able to employ foreigners. We have foreigners working with Colonel, for instance. So the reverse, as he has suggested, is already happening. And I know a lot of other companies that have foreigners in their employ in Nigeria. So we need to develop our capabilities further so that we'll be able to handle all the jobs that we have here. Now, somebody asked about Engineer Usman. Engineer Usman asked what NSC leaders are doing about mentorship. We have a lot of, it's not just NSC as the corporate body, corporate headquarters. The divisions of NSE do a lot of mentoring. APWEN, the Association of Professional Women Engineers of Nigeria, does a lot of that. They go to schools they give scholarship, they offer scholarship. They also help to get jobs and internship for these students. Now, what I think we need to do a bit more is to get corporate firm members of NSE to be involved and to invest in education, especially in the provision of equipment for some of these universities. I know that the federal universities have grants from which they're supposed to draw to do or to keep the equipment, the laboratories well equipped and functional. But we all know that it doesn't really happen that way. So I believe that NSE can go a step further. Apart from what the president is planning now, what he calls the School of Engineering, I think we should also use our corporate firm members and ensure that some of them use, as a corporate resource, how do you put it, corporate social responsibility, divert some of it into schools to equip the universities. And the private universities are doing a lot better. And I was wowed because of the number of equipments that they have, number of laboratories, 37 laboratories in the School of Engineering. And all of them, in fact, I saw things that I'd never seen before. Things that I didn't see when I was in school. I went to the University of Benin. So if we can keep that kind of pace up, then we'll be able to do a lot more. And then we'll get internship, get them to do internship, get our corporate firm members to take them, to absorb them and train them, like Kenol is doing now, training young graduates so that we can make them more competent, they can become more competitive amongst their peers all over the world. Then there's a question about the role of influence on environment. Do you mean to ask how the environment influences competitive the achievement of competitive edge?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Let me also help you here.
Yes, sir.
See, this issue of, you see, once we come in to make presentations, it does not mean you are the alpha and omega of the whole thing. All of us in this room are engineers, and anybody can bring in his wealth, and then all of us will support Erelu to deliver. She is not an academician. She is not an academician. She is an entrepreneur by excellence. So please, when you ask questions that Erelu cannot necessarily give you the answer. But if you have the answer, bring the answer to the table. It's a knowledge sharing session we are today. And we are not contesting anybody's better than or less than. No, that's not the issue. I want to say Erelu is the best. If you look at our school system, in NSE, we agreed, we went out to the universities, we took university and polytechnic.
Give me Powerhouse and Ferus.
I personally went to 6 of them. And what I saw here, the functional teaching equipment.
Go and bring Powerhouse.
You see late machines that are not functioning. Forget about big machines. It's an issue. In my time, in the 80s, when I went to university, in our universities, at least we have taught many machines, all these machines, physically we operated them. Today, apart from being obsolete, they are not even working. It's a concern. Then what do you expect from the process? What do you expect? So it is now coming out to repair the she rightly said, people from outside, corporate individuals, can come in to these universities and upgrade and repair machines. In 2 universities I found CNC machines that were installed 15 years ago and they have never worked. 15 years ago and they have never worked. Now, who do you blame? I started asking questions. How does this machine come here? Who commissioned it? How is the conductor paid? All of them are Nigerians. it should run back to me and you. It should run back to me and you. So, Errol, thank you very much for this, and make attempts to answer questions. Where you don't have the answer, we are here, we'll give you support from where you are. Go ahead.
Thank you for the protection, my president.
You are highly well protected. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. So, Mr. Chairman, I'm protected. I can choose not to answer any question.
Okay, can I just?
I need
to answer. It's a professor. So any question that you don't like, pass it to the chairman to answer.
Thank you, sir.
So that.
Thank you, sir.
Well done, Mr. President. I actually had the same observation with the president, you know, especially when the question on what is it called? Is it
environment?
Environment was put. I was wondering whether Erelu has become a professor in psychology, you know. So, President, thanks for your intervention. I was going to intervene if you didn't do it on your behalf. Thank you.
I was not surprised because it was that question that disrupted the network earlier on. I think
and it was only the prayer by Ezeku that brought the network back.
Maybe can we give the person who asked the question, the gentleman who asked the question, the opportunity to respond, if maybe he has a comment?
Exactly.
Please, can we invite the?
Yeah, or you could make the question clearer.
Well, Erelu, you spoke about the environment, and I mean understanding the environment in order to have a competitive advantage. And my question was, what is the role of influence? That is, if I have a contact who influences, because all what you have said under normal circumstances are 100% correct. But in an environment where you just have to know somebody before you get a job, and that was why I was asking, what is the role of influence in the issue of the environment in order to have a competitive advantage? Simple. That was what I was trying to ask. I hope you get you now understand what I'm saying.
It's clearer now, Engineer Bewaji. Yes, sir. So you want to know the role of influence? Of course. Well, actually, when I mentioned the environment as it affects the execution of your job, as it affects your professional development, and how you can have the competitive edge. But then you must have influence, really. This is Nigeria. So you must understand your environment and know there are some key things that you must take into cognizance. If you work in Nigeria, for instance, there are a few things that you cannot do, or that you must do. You must have a better negotiation skill than the average engineer or professional, because here the man who wants to give you the contract is already, before he gives you the contract, is thinking about what his own percentage is going to be. So if you are not careful, you will not be able to perform. So you must have good negotiation skills. Then another thing that you can also do based on this environment to be able to compete well is the kind of thing that we do in Kano. You collaborate with other people. You collaborate with manufacturers, for instance, of products, so that you can get them directly. And then you don't run into this issue of, if you have to pay for, you have to purchase or procure, if you have to procure materials and you don't have direct access to manufacturers, you're going to procure at a higher rate. And in Nigeria, it's one of the things that we understand in our environment here in Nigeria that we try to mitigate. So that's what I was talking about. But then again, everybody knows that here in Nigeria, if you really don't, you have to have somebody somewhere I am the government liaison officer for the company. So I do a lot of stakeholder meetings and stuff, you know. So we have also taken care of that aspect. So I don't know if anybody else can help me to answer the question.
I think you've
projection from my president.
I guess you have answered me.
Addition to Taiwo Bewaji is a senior consultant, and he also knew, and all of us in Nigeria also knew, that economic laws does not work in Nigeria. Very plain. Let's now come back to reality. All scientific laws cannot work in Nigeria. They don't even work in Nigeria. We defy every solution that you think. If you say 1 + 1, in Nigeria, when we say 2, you go back and look at the 2 very well. It can be 2.5 in Nigeria. That happens only in Nigeria. Happens only in Nigeria. You have so many laws, but all the laws don't work in Nigeria. They only work when they want to get all of you. Getting influence is key, because you need, in fact, since the days when they said, when Erufai also mentioned, do I give contact to my enemies? Or is my wife looking at Nigeria? Things change, narratives change. People started thinking somehow. Ordinarily we knew for every contact there are processes and procedures to follow. And they are well laid down. And up to today, go to civil service, you see financial regulation on everybody's table. The same financial regulation is in London. The same, there are events. It's still financial regulation in London. But money is not missing in London. But billions is missing in London. And we are following the same regulation. Are we coming from the new Nigeria? So please, some certain things are peculiar to Nigeria. They don't work elsewhere, but they work in Nigeria perfectly. I think that you, because we are we. It's in-house discussion. All of us we are Nigerians, and we know what is happening. So the best bet for all of us is to go back to processes and procedures. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. We still have 98 people on this participants on this call. In as much as I want to close, I just want to take 2 hands, please. My guest speaker, if you don't mind, can I take 2 more questions, please, guest speaker?
Sure.
Okay, good. I will invite I've seen Engineer Lord Grant. Your hand has been up. So I will call Lord Grant, followed by Theo Bosun, the chairman, London branch, to ask the questions. But before they speak, can I quickly just chip in my own here? I think there's no gain saying that NSC Manchester branch has the competitive advantage now. So my question, please, Ma, how can we sustain that competitive advantage?
It's very doing right now. You are doing a lot of things right. That is why you have a competitive edge and competitive advantage. You are doing now. You need to identify them. And then once you identify them, you now know how to develop them further, adding some innovation. And once you do that, then you'll be able to sustain this tempo that you have right now. Having 97 participants on your call at a technical session is fantastic. So that means you are doing a lot of things right. And you must identify them and so that you'll be able to work on them and develop them. And then, of course, you must add new things from time to time, and then you'll be fine.
Thank you, man. So that means London branch and Glasgow branch, they cannot catch us again. Okay.
Also, Erelu contributed to the success. So Erelu contributed to the success by.
I didn't agree with that. That's why I'm coming to catch you.
So can I call Lord Grant, then Theo? Lord Grant, then Theo, please. Then we can close.
I'm glad to be here. I joined all the way
We can't hear you properly, sir. The quality, audio quality is poor.
Let him type it in the chat box.
Okay. Lord Grant, please, your connection is bad. Please type, please. Tio Bosun.
Can I plead for Kenneth and Adekule Makinde, Mr. Chairman? 30 seconds.
Can you hear me now? Hello, good evening. Can you hear me?
Good evening, sir.
How are you today, ma? This is Theo Bosondulami from London.
I'm fine, sir.
Oh, okay. I think I still got someone on the line. Can I continue, please?
Theo, please continue because Engineer Grant's connection is not very good.
Thank you very much. I just want to say wonderful good evening to everyone. President of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Engineer Babagana, I say good evening to you, sir, and to all my colleagues, and also most especially Engineer Femi. I want to say wonderful, sunny, bright evening to you. I want to commend the Erelu herself for a job well done, and I'm here not to throw spanner into the works, but to support her. I'm here to support her on what she has said. She made a very valid point on competitive edge, and she mentioned one thing that is very paramount, which is branding. Branding. If you have a very solid and effective branding structure, you have the competitive edge. Go and ask the companies like Apple, Microsoft, Mercedes-Benz, and these are companies that Coca-Cola, exactly. These are companies that have given themselves so much edge in branding. And I always tell people that if you go and look at people that have stood up, even in the music industry, the late Michael Jackson, not only was he able to deliver, but you know what? He had the competitive edge because he gave himself a solid branding. And that branding is still making money for him, even he's still, as he's dead now, we know that for sure. So one of the ways we can make a competitive edge, even as a country, branding is very, 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 very important. And lastly, but not the least, I want to also say one way or the other, a very good case study in Kenol. I know about Kenol very well. They've got so many projects. We need to have a stakeholder management structure. Erelu mentioned the fact that how do you get jobs? There was a question about how do you get jobs? Even if you don't know anybody, if your branding is strong and you have a stakeholders management, you may not be an engineer, somebody who knows the terrain very well, somebody who can go there as a goal-getter, somebody who can do business and bid on your behalf till you get the job. It can come from a lawyer background or anything, but you have a goal-getter that can go there, that knows the terrain very well. You'll be able to stand on your edge and be looking at every other person. And I can tell you that definitely that is what the London branch has been able to do. We have a branding and we are way, way far ahead. And everyone can testify to that. Thank you very much. Erelu, I give you my heart. You've done a very good job today, man. Well done, man.
Thank you, sir.
Man.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. But for the fear of the president, I will have muted him, but I could not dare to do that. I think our past president has given a permission for two more questions. Ken Ronsaye and who else, sir?
Adekule Makinde.
Adekule Makinde, please. In that order, Ken Ronsaye, then Adekule Makinde.
Good evening. Good evening. First, I would just like to congratulate Manchester branch and to thank the guest speaker for the points, and also for the presence of the president here, and the past president, Engineer Ezekiel Afeni. Thank you. I'm actually calling to just support what the guest speaker was talking about, and I was going to say something about influence. Influence creates that frequency. So influence doesn't change much. It just creates that frequency that helps you present yourself more. So influence would create the frequency that would allow you to present yourself more, and you will get the opportunities because of the presentation. And at the end of the day, it's what you're presenting that really matters. So the frequency is a factor, but you need to present yourself in the best way possible. And the speaker that just spoke just now spoke about branding, and that's the best way to present yourself. So the branding and everything comes into play, but the frequency is the influence. So influence just increases the frequency you are being presented to. So your case is being presented. So it just supports everybody that's speaking so far. Well done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Engineer Ken.
Yeah.
Engineer Dekule Makinde, please, sir.
Yes, good evening, Chairman. Well done, sir. The powerful president of FNSCHE, Engineer Babagana Mohammed FNSCHE, the president of current Engineer Rabiu, and of course, my dear Ebon and former president, past president of FNSCHE, Engineer Ademola Isaac Olorunfemi. Good evening, gentlemen and ladies. I want to start by, of course, appreciating Erelu. Of course, we don't expect anything less from her. She's been there, and we appreciate her so much. Kudos. Of course, Manchester branch as well. Well done. My own probably contribution is just very simple. In the course of the question and answer, there was a question in passing, somebody making some inference in passing, to, some leverage for the young engineers, of course, which I have a lot of interest in. Having been opportune under the presidency of Engineer Olorunfemi to lead the young engineers in the country, that what are some of the opportunities available for them? What are some of the things that are being done? And I'm very much aware that even under the presidency of Engineer Babagana Mohammed, a lot is being done as per, getting them positioned in industry, giving them leverages here and there, opportunities to connect them with companies where they can. So I just think maybe Erelu or probably even the president might want to blow up a little bit on this so that everyone will be very much aware of so much that is being done. And maybe some of us are not hyping very well enough. Thank you so very much. Hello, I hope I was heard.
You were.
Loud and clear.
Yes, the president is here. So I'm sure he's the...
Erelu, you are looking for the protection of president again.
No, he's the one. He's the one who is most suited to talk about things like that.
Okay,
I'm just a guest speaker here.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the most suitable to speak about it. Mr. President, sir.
Yes, Mark, you are well protected today.
Thank you, my president.
You are well protected, and the best bet to end is when the ovation is high. My chairman, close the meeting. Don't take any question from anybody. Time I will spend. Let's push you. Go back and face other activities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Can we quickly invite Engineer Okade to give our vote of thanks to our wonderful guest speaker today? Engineer Okade, our General Secretary, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And, standing on existing protocols, I would like to say a big thank you to our guest speaker, Engineer Mrs. Margaret Oguntala. Thank you for your very insightful presentation. It's been very enlightening and educative as well. And I think as a branch, we need to go sit down and think of how we can rebrand, how we can re-strategize to put us in that position where we'll become very competitive. And to all our participants, yeah, to keep us there, yeah. And to all our participants, thank you very much. You stayed from the beginning to till this time. We appreciate all of you. Thanks for joining. And I wish you all a very good weekend. Stay safe.
Thank you very much. That brings to close our technical session, and as we evolve into our general meeting.
Dr. Books, let me just quickly make some announcements before the guests start leaving.
Please go ahead, please.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Dr. Books. Thanks everyone for joining us. So I'll just quickly make announcements from our sister branches. So the next the next technical session coming up from FNSCHE London branch is on Saturday 29th, that's tomorrow actually, of May 2021 at 2 p.m. Hello, President, you're on. Hello, okay, all right. Okay, so the title is as seen on the screen, which is Nigerian Roads, Retrospective, Perspective, and Prospective Highlights. And I'm sure that you'll find that really very interesting. The guest speaker is Dr. Emeka Agbasi. So if you can, please try to join. I'm sure it will be of great interest to all of us because we all have a stake in Nigerian roads. So